Can I get everybody's attention, please? Take your seat. Yes, if everybody could please take your seat. We would like to welcome you to 1 Million Cups. 1 Million Cups is part of the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City. There are 1 million cups all over the United States, chapters pretty much everywhere that's important, and they meet every Wednesday morning. It's kind of the same format. It's you do a little connecting, networking, and then we have a presentation. We got 2 today, so you're getting 2 for the price of 1. And then you can do a little more connecting with your fellow entrepreneurs, startup founders, and you can be out the door by 9:30. We would like to thank our sponsors, of course, Kauffman Foundation, Mill for the all-important coffee, Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development, LPED. Abby back here is in charge of the connection between the innovations community here in Lincoln and LPED, which is actually part of the partnership with Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. Barrett Home Law Offices, and they're here once a month.
No, they'll start being here every other week.
They're going to be here every other week, and they do what we call office hours. After the presentations, we have a few experts around that are here that you can chat with and get free advice. Now, Bard Home can't give you free legal advice that you can go and use, but they can sort of help you get started on any things you might have. Turbine Flats and Fuse co-working. If you attend 1 Million Cups, you can work free of charge at either Fuse down in the Haymarket or Turbine Flats over on Weiss Street on Wednesdays if you attend here. And then, of course, we want to thank Bill and Lindsay and Don't Panic Labs for the awesome space. This has really worked out great for us. Our crowds have increased. I think it's the location and the free parking, and a lot of people drive right by here on their way to work or whatever. So we want to thank them. Our organizers with whom this would not be possible. Here on the far right is Dow, who is our fearless leader. She's not here today. Dane Patton here with Bats and Rats. So if you have bat problem, rats in your basements, bats in your belfry, he's the guy to call. Of course, Abby and Ann McClure, and she can't be here today. She chipped a tooth, and her dentist appointment is at 8 o'clock this morning. And then we have Lindsay with Don't Panic Labs.
Oh, right here.
And Sarah Spitzen. Is Sarah here? Yeah. Oh, there you are. Okay, with Wesleyan, Nebraska Wesleyan University, go Doan Tiger. And myself with StratDM. Be sure to check in, please. There's QR codes on the table. There's a QR code back by the coffee. There's one on the screen. We report these numbers to Kansas City, and we want them to see how fast we're growing. And that gets you on our list. You will get probably 1 email a week just advising you on what the upcoming meeting is going to be all about. So that allows you to stay in touch, and it lets us know that you were here. Afterwards, I had mentioned office hours. We have the expert on government doing business with the government. There he is, right there. If you have any questions on doing business with the government, Quentin is the guy to talk to back here. He's our government expert. Please silence your phones. And like I said, we have 2 presenters today. And the first one is Lynette Sorrentino. Sorrentino. Okay, I didn't.
Okay, this was consonants
Okay. And she is with Chaos Boss. And so let's welcome Lynette, and she's all about Chaos Boss. Woo!
Set up my camera and then I forgot to push play. Hold on here. That'd be smart, right? Okay, we're good. Everybody caffeinated up already this morning? Are we good? So I am with Chaos to Boss. I started it back in 2020 during COVID. And I'm just going to kind of start off a little bit with this little bit of a story, so to speak. Maybe it'll relate to some of you will relate to it. How many of you would agree that somewhere along the way, what we've heard or we've been around is that burnout has become a badge of honor? We've been told to hustle harder, grind more, push no matter what. And it's like if we're exhausted or overwhelmed and running on empty, we must be doing something right. That's all okay. But somehow, it doesn't feel right. Watch my cords down here. It doesn't feel right. But what if it's actually quietly breaking our businesses? Novel idea, different than what we've been taught. I've been in business for over 30 years as an entrepreneur. And I've had seasons where I looked successful on paper, but behind the scenes, I was completely depleted. I've burned out and crashed and burned more than once. I was doing all the things. I was growing, I was producing, I was showing up. Every organization or every business that I've been a part of, I was at the top. But I was also tired in the way that sleep didn't fix. You know that place where you feel like your brain's tired, you can't be present, you're maybe just going through the motions, but you're not internally excited about what it is that you're doing? Anybody been there, relate to that at all? Okay. And the thing is I see it everywhere now, especially with entrepreneurs. I'm not using a screen. Oh, I'm not, no. It's all good. No, I'm just doing from here. I'm not using any PowerPoint. So thank you for asking. Thank you for doing the check. That's a good, see, I forgot the video, so see, it's a good thing. So the real problem is we're not just building businesses, we're carrying everything. We're carrying decisions, we're carrying pressure, and that pressure starts adding up as if someone put a 50-pound backpack on our shoulders. We're carrying responsibility, and that's even if we have systems built. And if we don't have systems built, particularly when we're newer and maybe cash flow is tight, that makes that pressure even harder because we're trying to carry it all. And it starts to feel heavy. Am I right? Okay. Studies show that over 70% of entrepreneurs struggle with burnout or mental health challenges. Isn't it nice to be in the minority, even if it's not the good minority? So the more successful we become, the heavier it gets. And at some point, you have to let go to grow. That's sometimes the hardest part, right? And of multiple things. So now a lot of what we hear, especially with startups, is manage your time better, plan more, delegate, build systems, and absolutely that matters. You need to have that. Look at any business who has grown and scaled and is doing multiple 6 figures or 7 figures. Yes, they have to have systems. But here's what I've seen. Even when those people do those things, even when they scale, even when they're successful on the outside, they're still not thriving on the inside. Who talks about that? For me, it wasn't just the hours. It was the internal pressure I was putting on myself. Sometimes it was external. We all worry about expectations from others. We're maybe people-pleasing, people that we worked with, maybe mentors, coaches, people in your personal life. You don't want to let them down. Anybody resonating? But what I realized was even with the pressure from the outside, I was the one who was carrying it. I'm carrying that 50-pound backpack. I had to keep working hard. I couldn't let anyone down. I felt like survival. And at some point I realized I didn't just need to change my business, I needed to change how I was looking at it. Look at it through a different lens. I had to learn to say yes to me first instead of everyone else. How many of you, when you heard that, went, oh yeah, maybe, but how in the heck do I do that? Or that feels weird, or that doesn't feel intuitive, or feels like, I don't know. Yeah, right? We're so busy serving and helping others. And let's be real, ladies, we're perfectionists. We can lead the crowd on that, right? But I think it happens both with men and women. So what it also meant was shifting how I thought about rest. Slowing down wasn't not having every minute scheduled. It wasn't me falling behind. It was actually rest was productive. How many of you get an idea when you're in the shower or when you're driving? Yeah, everybody always raises their hands. What if you were intentional about that? Imagine what would happen. That's what your rest is, because you're physically doing something, so your mind is relaxed. You've lost something. You're looking hard for it and you can't find it. You quit looking for it and it shows up. That's the kind of rest I'm talking about. And imagine if you utilize that to your advantage, how more productive you would be, but also how much more thriving and peaceful you would be on the inside. Novel thought, What I noticed was when my mind had space, that's when the ideas come. See, I already said that. It was also clarity, but it also meant saying no when I meant no. That's not always easy to do, especially if you're a people pleaser. And not saying yes just to keep the peace or to avoid disappointing somebody else. Can I get an amen? Amen. Setting boundaries I used to avoid. Because until that shifted, nothing else was going to, because whether it was the pressure of the business or the pressure I was putting myself, it wasn't just my business, it was my whole 360 life. Because that's what we carry. As men, you're providing, you're protecting, you're taking care of your family, you're doing all this stuff. As women, we're just trying to put the superwoman cape on. And so it's all of that we're carrying, not just running our business. And when you put a brand new startup around it, holy moly, how in the heck are we even here today? Right? If you think about it. Okay, everybody breathe a sigh of relief. We're all in the same place. You can all take a breath. We are trying to grow externally, but we have to structure ourselves internally. We've got success all out here, but it's the thriving on the inside. Because if your business requires you to be exhausted to sustain it, it's not scalable. It's dependent on you. How many of you even have gone on vacation, but you make sure your phone's right next to you because something might happen? You can't totally check out. You might be physically gone, but you're not mentally gone. You're not giving yourself the rest that you needed. So everything started to change for me when I asked a question. Not how do I do more, but what do I stop doing? Where am I the bottleneck? Where do I need to let go to grow? Where am I over-functioning? What am I holding on to that I should have let go of already? Everybody take your hand like this and clench it. Okay? Hold your hand. You're holding on tight, right? You're holding on tight. Think of something that you hold on tight to. Now, if I came to give you something, could you take it? You can't take it because you're holding on, right? How many times do we hold on to things like that and we don't realize it, but it's mentally? Okay, you can let go now.
I got my arms, my head, my elbows.
Right? So I've coined a line, and it's grinding is only for coffee beans. Appropriate that we're here with the mill, right? Grinding is only for coffee beans because it's not for building a life you actually want to live. You can be super, super successful without hustling and grinding, and you can choose a different path than what the world tells you. So what I'm doing right now is I'm bringing this conversation to bigger rooms. This is about my business. What I'm doing now is bringing this conversation to bigger rooms, corporate teams, entrepreneur groups, and organizations that are ready to talk about burnout and sustainable success, about mental well-being. So what I'm looking for is simple. I'm looking for introductions. If you know event organizers, companies that are focused on employee well-being, communities that need this message, I would love to connect, because success shouldn't cost you everything that matters. I'm good. I'll take questions. Okay, yes, ma'am.
So what's your business model?
What's my business model?
Yeah.
Primarily speaking, and then it goes, I've done a lot of coaching, like individual and group coaching, but I really believe speaking has always been the thing I've always loved most to do. So it's primarily doing speaking before groups, but then also usually people will want to do more, so we'll go into more of a workshop group type of format where it's more of a day workshop or an ongoing workshop with groups as opposed to more of a coaching model.
Where are you seeing the most success so far?
Doing speaking more, I'm seeing more and more people agreeing with what I'm doing. When I look at the coaching that I've done with people, a lot of it has been with newer entrepreneurs and startups because they're drinking through the fire hose. And they really, it's like, I've got a craft, I've got a business, I know what I'm doing with my thing, but I don't know how to do all of the rest. So a lot of it has been helping them with their planning, their delegation, their organization, and their time, and some of that systems. Thinking like a business owner. You have to think like a business owner, not just act one, otherwise you're just a glorified employee. But it's also then been looking at the internal stuff, knowing that it's okay to rest. It's, you know, some of the stuff I just talked about. So it's a dual thing where you've got to work on the systems on the outside, but then also work with people on giving themselves permission to do this stuff on the inside, because otherwise you're not creating a sustainable model. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
You talked about letting go, and you mentioned something about inside. Can you speak on that a little bit more? What is it exactly, and why is that important?
I think it goes a couple of different directions. I think we can let go in our businesses. A lot of it is let go in terms of delegating. That's one of the biggest things I see with business owners is they're not letting go and they're not delegating, and so then they're putting a bottleneck in themselves. But the let go is also letting go of the results, letting go of the emotions. When I became a brand new entrepreneur, I was like an EKG. I'd have a great thing in the morning, I'd have a great thing, and I'd be like, great thing and a bad thing, and a great thing and a bad thing, and a great thing and a bad thing. And that could all happen in 5 minutes. And when I learned to get in control of my emotions, that's when I got in control of my paycheck. So it's the internal letting go. It's letting go that I can clock out at 5 o'clock and I can go be with the people that are important to me, that are the people that I'm doing this for. There's an internal letting go to just say, you know what, it's going to be okay in the morning. When you die, your inbox won't be empty. Does that answer your question?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
How do you inspire yourself daily?
How do I inspire myself daily? You know, I've been doing this so long, it's just like that's how I be. That's how I am. But in the beginning, I always take time for myself. That's part of that internal thing. I have my quiet, I'm an early riser, but that doesn't mean I'm out the door in the morning. This is early for me to be out the door of what I like to do. I don't really like to start until 8:30 or 9, but I'm up going at 5:30. But it's because I'm exercising, I'm doing my mental space, I'm getting clear, I'm doing gratitudes, I'm journaling prayers to God, and I'm just, you know, that prayer goes into gratitudes and thankfulness, and then it goes into kind of like what I want to do and like what I'm looking forward to, like an affirmation. But it's staying centered with my gratitudes and also with my wins. Because it's really easy as a business owner to look at all the things that didn't go right that day. So if you bookend your day with your gratitudes and end it with your wins and do that every single day, that would be a way to do that. Yes, sir.
I have a question. It's quite, I don't mean in a sense of a challenge, but how do you relate to a younger generation where, as everybody's familiar, I am in that generation. I'm probably the youngest person in this room.
I'm the oldest, so we'll bookend it, okay?
Let's talk about it, right? So like, it's a different world for me than it is for any of you. You're all have successful careers and jobs and opportunities. I am also at the pivotal point of history where like I am an entrepreneur. I'm also trying to be an employee currently, but how do you empower and coach people where, in a sense where, how do I say this? It's not just a different game for us, but also hustling and grinding could be like sometimes you're not even getting a paycheck, you know?
Yep. So let me define the hustle and grind a little bit. Maybe that will help you. So I don't think, I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm not saying don't have good work ethic. When I think of hustle where it goes too far, is that hustle goes and it's at the expense of everything else. It's the expense of the people in your life that mean something to it, your relationships, it's your mental health, your physical health. When it overflows into the other areas of your life that they start to decrease, that's when hustle is not good, okay? And I don't know how the word grind is good for anything other than coffee beans. Why do you want to say I got to do the grind? Why would you say that? And if you're doing the grind at your job, just know that maybe there's an end time when you're going to be able to have your own business. Or if you really hate your job and you're doing the grind, then go find another one. Skip that darn word. It's a rotten word, in my opinion. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Did I help you out?
You know, I'm getting my hair back.
We got time for one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to speak on behalf of Lynette. I've done one of her workshops and it's really, really great. Especially, when you do kind of have a bit of a chaotic life with working a day job, if you're starting your own business, kids, life, everything, all the chaos. It was beneficial. So, I would definitely, recommend doing one of her workshops if you choose to do so.
Thank you. One thing I'll add to that, thank you so much, is that before I became an entrepreneur accidentally, back in 1988, I was working 3 jobs and 60 hours a week. And I joined a direct sales company that I became in the top 5%, but a lot of what I was doing is I was teaching women how to work a full-time job, how to be able to build a side business, how to be able to take care of their kids, how to do all of this stuff. And there is a way to manage that chaos, and it's really how you look at it. It can be kind of crazy, but it's how you are being proactive and planning about it. So everything I teach is what I've lived, and I want to be able to show people how to do this so you don't have to be a senior citizen when you figure it out.
And I know you already covered this, but it is a question we always end, the last question we always ask at 1 Million Cups. What can we, as a community, do for you?
Thank you very much. I like that. Thank you. So if this resonates with, I'll get back up here. If some of this resonates, whether you're curious, I'll be here for a little bit. I'd love to answer your questions. If you can think of an organization you belong to, if some of you wanted to pool together and do something with the workshop, I'm totally open to any ideas. So when you ask me about my business model, I'm a real fluid person. I don't put baby in the corner kind of thing. I'm intuitive and I know how to be able to put something together for people in the way that it works best for them. So let's have a conversation and we'll put something together.
Thank you. Thank you. And you get a double header today. So our next, what's that?
Action, just get up here. No, continue.
Okay. This is Mr. Art Wilson, and he is with Ybor. Ybor.
Spanish language.
Okay. Ybor. Okay. He's going to tell us all about Ybor. Let's give him a big 1 Million Cups welcome.
Let's make sure my all turned on and plugged in. Oh, am I allowed to swear up here? Oops.
You didn't say that.
Can we wait till afterwards? Let me tell you a story. January 3rd, 2004. It was my 18th birthday. I was released from a juvenile detention facility wearing the clothes on my back, and they gave me $2 to ride the bus. I had no high school education, no work history, and no marketable skills, and a criminal record. I spent most of that year kind of couch surfing and doing nothing with my life because honestly, I didn't have a lot of options. My dad's family bought a restaurant that summer and they offered me a job. And I started out washing dishes, and I quickly learned how to cook, I learned how to run the restaurant, and I became the lead chef. And for the next 10 years, I was able to find a job cooking wherever I went. I've worked at colleges in Idaho, I've worked at sports bars in Wisconsin. I've worked all over Southern California where I'm from. I worked at Pinnacle Bank Arena here when they first opened. I cooked food for famous people. Bon Jovi, Cyndi Lauper. I met Jay-Z's personal chef. Yeah, super cool. I thought it was cool. All without a high school education, any formal education or training, and a criminal record. That is the power of the culinary industry. Anthony Bourdain, the late great Anthony Bourdain, said it best that the kitchen really is a place for people with bad pasts to find a new family. It really is. So that's what we do at Ybor. We provide culinary education and workforce development for people who are incarcerated. We are a nonprofit. Here in Nebraska, about 2,000 people are released from incarceration every year. I don't really need that, sorry. 30% of those will recidivate within 3 years. 2,000 people a year, 30% within 3 years go back to prison. We want to lower that number, as I imagine you do too. I don't see a lot of heads nodding. Wow. Tough crowd, y'all. These people recidivate because they often don't have any education, they don't have any skills, and they don't have any work history, right? They don't have any options either. So that's what we offer. We start with education. Twice a month, I go out to the Work Release Center and I teach food safety classes. This is your standard level 2 food handler's permit through the Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department. Anybody that gets one of these can go work in any food establishment in the county. So for 40 individuals per month, we provide these free of cost. So they can get this and go out and get a job anywhere in this city working in food service. The next part of our program is much more about the education and training. We work with the Great Plains Culinary Institute out at the community college. We also partner with the Upward Prison Education Program. We facilitate a culinary foundations class. It's a 4-week class, it's 16 hours, it's taught by their certified executive chef instructors, and I gotta tell you, all we do is cook food and eat food. It is probably the funnest class I've ever been in. And I just love to cook. So, cooking and eating, 2 of my favorite things. Anybody else? Is that your, yeah. Well, all right then. I should have brought food. Wish I could have. After that, we bridge it into what we call a pre-apprenticeship. This is a 50-hour on-the-job training program where they work with us. Currently, we have a pop-up model. Our executive director and co-founder, Bill, is not here today because he's doing a pop-up feeding lunch to Emeritus this morning. So we do a lot of catering events, a lot of pop-ups. We do public pop-ups, so you may have already tried our food. It's delicious. We bridge that then into an actual apprenticeship. So we have a 2,000-hour paid apprenticeship through the Department of Labor. That means that our participants work with our partner restaurants for 2,000 hours, which can take a year of full-time employment. Sometimes it takes a little longer. They get paid to do this. Our restaurant partners mentor them and train them according to the Department of Labor standards that are set forth. So this isn't just a job washing dishes. This isn't, hey, we got you a job, you're going to wash dishes for a year. They train them in everything from recipe adheration to protein fabrication to baking, all kinds of things. So it doesn't work for every restaurant, obviously. Mostly scratch kitchen restaurants. Currently, we have 3 apprentices in this. We just started doing this in July of last year, which is when they hired me to facilitate this program. And we have 3 apprentices right now, working in various restaurants here in town, which is super cool. And as you'll see up here for 5, it says, Ybor Restaurant coming 2026. Guess what, my friends? We just signed a lease 3 weeks ago. It's a block away. We are going to be right here in the building where you see Early Bird, right? So we're literally right here. You can walk outside and see us. That's where we're going to be. So I expect to see many, many, many of you on Wednesday mornings because we will serve breakfast and we will serve coffee. Yeah, so as soon as you're done here, you can come and see us. And if you work downtown, you can come back for lunch. Speaking of food, what is it that we actually make? I haven't talked about the food. Ybor, we are named for Ybor City, which is in Florida, the birthplace of the Cuban sandwich. So if you're keeping track here, this is a Lincoln nonprofit named for a city in Florida that sells sandwiches that's named after Cuba. But that's kind of the point. The Cuban sandwich itself was created by immigrants working in cigar factories. It's got Cuban bread, Cuban pork, Spanish ham, Italian salami, German mustard and Swiss cheese on it. Yeah, interesting, right? But that's the whole point. We're collaborating and we're blending good ideas to create good in the world. And that is what Ybor is here to do. Good work and good food. I mean, who in here would disagree? Good work, good food. Because we are more than a culinary program. We are second chances built on the dignity of work, the power of mentorship, and actually working in real kitchens. This isn't just a training program where they go and work in virtual kitchens or something like that. We provide careers and promising futures for incarcerated individuals. So how can you help us? Well, we are a nonprofit, so you can donate. You can go to our website, you can be a supporter. You can buy our food. Unfortunately today, unless you work in Emeritus, you can't get our food. But next Wednesday, we're having a groundbreaking right up the street. The food's free. The food's free. So we're doing a big ceremony. We have Director Rob Jeffries from the Department of Corrections coming out to speak. Our co-founder will speak as well. And then we're going to have a catered lunch.
What time?
You know, that's a good question. I think 11. I think 11. I can check my notes if you want to go. Ask me afterwards. It's in my emails. I'm not supposed to invite the general public, but y'all are super cool, so I'm inviting all of you. So don't invite 10 of your friends. We won't have enough sandwiches. What? Yeah, we won't have enough sandwiches if you each invite 10 people, so just you. You're all now my guests. But the final thing I want to say as to how you can support us is hire a felon. Yeah, you don't even have to hire one of our participants. If you don't own a restaurant, if you just own a business, hire somebody with a criminal record. You've been talking to one for the last 10 minutes, okay? We're incredibly bright, we're incredibly hardworking, we're full of good ideas, and we got great people skills because we've had to survive a lot of different shit. So we know how to interact with people, we know how to have good ideas and make shit work. I've been doing it my whole life. So please, consider hiring someone with a criminal record. Thank you. Bill is our co-founder and executive director. You can email him. You can email me if you want. I prefer you don't. Email Bill. He knows all the things. He knows all the things. I just run the programs at the prison. So unless you want to go to prison with me, you could email me. You can find us on socials. Please follow us, like our content. Questions? Yes?
Sorry, you got me worked up.
Got me worked up, bro.
Once
Come on.
the restaurant is open, will you continue the pop-up model at all?
Yes, eventually. Probably not this year as we get going. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As we get going this year, it'll be a lot harder to actually go out and do pop-ups. You're trying to open a restaurant. Yeah. So.
Very good.
Do you have staff now? Do you have people now that are preparing meals for masses? Or can we book this out? Is this something that we could say, hey, we want to cater to 200 people?
Yes. Talk to Bill.
Oh, okay.
Bill handles all of that stuff. We do have a public pop-up. Let me double check. I mean,
Can we provide a space like a parking lot or something?
yes.
Okay.
You would have to. He books all those though. But yes, we do. They catered my birthday party last year. Lindsay came. They literally set up in my backyard last year and served sandwiches. This is how they got me to work for them. I just love their sandwiches so much. They don't have a truck. No, we don't have a truck. So we're currently doing lunch at Emeritus today, which is not open to the public. I'm going to pull this up real quick. I believe we have a public one in early April at Innovation Campus. Let me get you the date. The Wi-Fi is incredibly slow. It'll come up. Yes. If you want to book catering, then contact Bill. Yes.
Not a question, more of just observation. Do you work at all with like UNL? Like they outreach to the prison quite a bit. I feel like this would be a great marriage.
Not directly, no. I mean, we work with the Department of Corrections and the community college a lot because of the culinary class and everything else. So we don't really work with UNL. We work with a lot of different agencies. I mean, most of my job is interacting with the Department of Corrections, the community college, and the Department of Labor, which is a lot of bureaucracy for one person to deal with. It really is. I don't. I can give you my number, though. I don't have cards. I keep telling them, I need cards, man. I'll give you my number, though. Cool? You had a question?
Yes, the sandwich, roughly how much is it gonna cost?
I believe right now a sandwich and chips and a drink like combo thing is $14. I have menus actually. What am I doing? I have actually opening menus here, so this is the exact menu. Yeah. So sandwiches are $12.99 for a full sandwich. He sent me those last minute today. He's like, take these menus.
Could you speak to the, you mentioned family in the beginning. Could you speak to why is that important, or what is it that you've seen in these individuals that have found meaning and purpose? Like, what is it that you're actually bringing to them to help with this I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've been working with individuals who are incarcerated or coming off of substances or living on the streets for the last 10 years. I worked at the People's City Mission here in town for 8 years. I'm on the board of a couple of nonprofits that work with people who are incarcerated, Bridges to Hope, the Mental Health Association. I do a lot of work with these types of individuals. And over the last 10 years, I'll tell you what I've seen, is that when people are treated like people and not problems, they connect with those people and they stay around. The people that I used to live at the City Mission, and I ended up working there for 8 years because they treated me like a real person. They treated me like a member of the human society that I was, rather than just as a problem to be managed. And so I really enjoyed being around them. So when I got my head out of my ass and got clean and sober and got off the streets, I wanted to work with those people. And we find the same thing time and time again. The people who go through our programs want to stay with us. When we open this restaurant, all of the people that want to work with us are going to be program graduates, and we're going to have to say, I'm sorry, this is for the apprentices only. You're going to have to go out and find a different job, because they want to stay connected to us, because they see us like family, because we treat them like people. And that's really what I am advocating for in any role I've ever had, is treat them like people. Treat us like people. Yeah. Thank you.
We got time for one more question.
This gentleman right here.
How come the lunch is not?
That's not the question. This guy had a question.
So you give them food handling permit,
Yeah.
great. How do you deal with the people handling
Yeah.
challenge, which, that's a learned skill, that's teamwork, that responsibility, that I might not have the right answer, they might, but it's not me, it's them.
Yeah.
How do you build the team mentality for somebody that's coming in the program?
That's a great question. So the food handlers permit class, I do 20 in the men's side and 20 in the women's side each month. Once a quarter, we facilitate the culinary class, so every 3 months, and we only take 10 participants. So anybody who's gone through phase 1 class can be invited to apply to that class. We then select the top 10 applicants based on questions that they answer, and I've interacted with them in a 3-hour class. So I see, are they asking questions, are they participating, or are they just back there sleeping half the time? Yeah, I interact with them just as a little bit in each phase. During the class, I'm present for each one, so that's 2 hours, 2 times a week for 8 weeks. I transport them, so I go pick them up and take, so I'm with them for almost 4 hours. So I get a sense of how they are. This is what we tell restaurant owners when we're saying, hey, you should hire this person. You can hire Joe, who just came in off the street with his resume that says he's been cooking for 20 years, and my family owned a restaurant, I've hired people like that. They don't know what they're doing. Or you can hire the guy that I've been working with for the last 8 weeks. He shows up, he tries hard, he has a good attitude. Does he know how to cook? Not really well, but you can teach a monkey how to cook, okay? He has the attitude to do it and will show up and is a great player. That's what the 3 phases before the apprenticeship give us, because they've worked with us, we've been in a classroom setting with them, and we've worked with them. And not only do we give them the apprenticeship when we partner them with restaurants, I continue to meet with them and coach them, yeah. Yeah, so, and the restaurant owners can contact me if they have an issue with one of the participants. And I've had that happen. Hey, so-and-so called and said this and didn't come to work today. Can you find what's going on? And I will absolutely do that, because we don't want them to get fired. So we act as an advocate and a bridge between all of that. Yeah. And I'm really good with people, if you haven't been able to tell.
And again, you covered this, but we're going to ask it again. What can we, as a community, do for you?
Donate money, because we're a nonprofit, so we rely on the generosity of, you're all now my guests to this, so you're not strangers. But buy our food, support us, hire felons, and just advocate at large for prison reform, because that's really what we're all about. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
One question I have for you.
I didn't make the menu.
Art,
Yes.
one question I have for you. Are you familiar with Ban the Box?
Yes.
Where's that sit right now?
You know, I recently talked to a UNL professor who does a lot of work around that, and he's doing some work with another professor out in Texas. I can't say where we're at with it nationally, but they're doing a lot of research that shows that it really does hurt employers. It'll really hurt you if you ask questions about people's criminal past. Because, and it's the same for people renting, right? If I think you're going to ask me if I'm a felon, I don't want to talk to you. But everybody that I talk to that's always asking, I also teach for the community college out at NSP, and my students always ask me this: is somebody going to want to work with me? Is somebody going to want to hire me? And I say, do you really want to work with somebody who's going to hold this shit against you your whole life? So it's the first thing I tell people in a job interview. I was a drug addict, and I've been incarcerated, and I've been homeless. Because if you don't want to work with me, I don't want to work with you, honestly. So that's what I say about that.
And in case you're not familiar, it's a movement to eliminate the question on an application
Criminal records.
about, now I guess later in the interviewing process, whatever, but
Yeah.
just to kick somebody out right up front because they put a check in that box. Yeah.
We've all made mistakes in here. If we got caught for them, we'd all have felony records. Come on. We've all done some shit we shouldn't be doing. Okay? Everybody has.
Okay, thank you very much, Art. And our two presenters will stick around if you want to talk with them one-on-one and get some more questions answered there. If any of you feel that you should be up here presenting, get in touch with one of the organizers and they'll tell you how to get into the process of doing that. Or if you know somebody that should be up here, have them get in touch with us. Do we know who's presenting next week? Lindsay, if we give her a second, she'll tell us who's presenting.
Next week's an update on service stories. And
Shh. It's who?
next week is an update on service stories, and then we also have Gilded Get.
And we would like the presenters, if you could, and the organizers, as soon as we break here, if you real quickly come up here so we can get a picture.
We have more coffee, so bring more coffee.
And upcoming events, open coffee tomorrow, Crescent Moon, 8:30, I think it is, to 10-ish. 8 to 10-ish or so. No agenda, no program, just drink coffee with your fellow entrepreneurs, founders, startup people. And if you want something a little stronger, then on
Friday, 4 to 6 at Whaler Brewing.
it starts at 4.
Yeah, I mean, you can come anytime for us.
Okay, yes, and again, we have cocktail, they'll give you coffee too there, I think. But we have cocktails, and again, you just talk with your fellow entrepreneurs. And Sarah,